how are you? I'm Nancy from Black Sheep Knitting in Needham, Massachusetts. I'm sitting here in my yarn shop, and we're just outside of Boston. For those of you who, if you're traveling and come to Boston, it's an easy trip out on the commuter rail, or you can Uber out here. Several things. We're still hosting Miss Babs yarns that are here for the week. We'll be shipping back what we don't sell on Saturday the 24th, so you have all day Saturday to come in. We had a great response, and people have had lots of fun picking from her yarns. We have, let's see, her 2-ply, her Yummy 2-ply, which is fingering weight. We have Moon Glow, which is a mohair and silk. We have Laurel Falls, which is a sport weight. We have Yowza, which is a DK, and a few skeins left of Big Silk and Cupcake. Cupcake is kind of a tweed, and she sent us lots of samples, so if you come in, you can see the samples. The yarn is just, it's a great yarn, and she has beautiful colors, so if you haven't had an opportunity to get in and take a look, come. We're here 1 to 5 from Tuesday to Saturday, so come and enjoy the yarn. We announced a new knit-along, and it's with Rebecca Clow, C-L-O-W, her patterns. It isn't just the Tolsta tee. She calls herself Kreya Bea, and I'll show you mine in a few minutes, but you saw a sample that we did of her Tolsta tee, and we showed you the Corin cardigan. But she has a number of other patterns, and we will start June 1st. You need to buy the yarn here, and when you do, if you're doing the project, doing the knit-along, you get 20% off on your yarn purchase. So just let us know at the cash register when you're checking out that you're doing it for the KAL. And we will again be, those of you who want to do it, or if you just want to come in and knit, we have open knitting on Fridays from 3 to 5, and it's a great group. So what? Fridays. Tonight. Sometimes I don't know what I'm saying. 3 to 5 on Friday afternoon. And of course, someone came in last week and she said, I just need to get out of my house. I said, yes, go right ahead. You know, come and in the summer we'll be air conditioned. You're always welcome to come and knit. Gives us a chance maybe to sit down and knit with you, talk to you. So we love it if you do that. We're happy to have you. One of the things that one of my classes were talking about was what to do with stuff in their stash and odd bits of yarn. And I came up with, we'll have a ton of ideas, but I did come up with a pattern that takes care of, this is called the Luminos tee. And if you've got 2 skeins of fingering weight, or 1 skein of one and 3 of another, the cool thing about this, and you can look up what other people did great things with this, and you can see that you can put anything in these stripes, and it's a cute little tee. And if you're one of the people like me who doesn't really want to show my upper arms, it look really cute over a dress, or over a t-shirt, a white t-shirt, or a blouse. But I thought it was a really cute, quick knit, and a good way to use up some of your stash. Let me quick double check on the yarn amounts. So I think, I may have misspoken. The sizes, it goes all the way up to a 58.5 inch bust, so it's size inclusive. The sort of average size calls for 2 skeins of one and one skein of the other. But of course you can break that up depending. I went through a bunch of my leftovers and I had a lot of fun putting the colors together. Here's a good example of using just a blue and a white. I thought that was really fun and cute. But I just quickly yanked a couple of skeins off the wall of ones that I thought would be fun. How about that for the summer? These are Allegria. And I find that I can wear lightweight wool, fingering weight wool in the summer. Not if I'm going to go sit out in the sun, obviously, or go to the walk on the beach. But it's great for if you're indoors where there's air conditioning. It's really nice. So that's one choice. This one I thought was really pretty. And if you're like me, you might want to put those two together. I have, let's see, this one I thought was really pretty. And then I saw this, which this has got some of the green, or what if you put all three? But you can, what you can do, which is so fun, is go through your stash and find bits of fingering weight. Or I'm assuming that you would, oh, this was what I originally was going to do with the green. I think you could probably work this out in a DK weight and still be okay. You might want to do it size smaller and use the needle that's recommended for the DK. But again, it's kind of a loose fitting thing, so I think it'd be fun. The other things that you can do with leftover bits, of course you need everything to be the same weight. You know, if you have some worsted, you need to find other worsted bits, but you can always put on a sweater, put a different color on the sleeve, or stripe this part of the sleeve. Do a color block where, you know, it's 1, 2, 3 colors. You could do some stripes in between. You can, there are all kinds of ways that you can use up those bits of yarn, and some of them might be favorite yarns that you really love knitting with and you don't want to give them away or, you know, throw them out. So there are lots of ways to use. You can do ribbing on collars and cuffs, and at the bottom ribbing, you can do those in the same color, different from the main body of a sweater. You can do scarves like crazy. There are just tons of scrap type scarves. You can use bits and pieces for color work. There's just no end to what you can do. And if you look through, I always like to look through people's projects that they've done on just one pattern to see, and you'll see some very cool ideas of what to do. So, you know, loosen up a little bit and say, well, what would happen if I put this and this and this together? You can always stripe things. You can put a couple of stripes. You know, you can make it all stripes, whatever you choose. I thought I would pick out a few of, with the trunk show, Miss Babs' trunk show, they sent some samples, and I picked out a couple that I thought were cute. This one is called Sherbet Fizz, and it's 1 skein of the Yowza, and the Yowza comes in, are they 650? They're huge, big skeins. But I also, that we have Yowza minis. These are 200 yards each, and I think they would make one of these, this shawl. And this is an easy, if you want to learn lace, this is an easy lace pattern to do. So I have this colorway is called Confetti. Picked another one called, I picked 2 different ones. How about that? I think we have both, one of each of these. This is called Morning Dream, and this is called Easter Bluebird, but there wouldn't be anything to keep you from doing both because they're very similar. And then, did I get the same ones of these? This is called Radiant Cloudscape. Kind of pretty. So those are a couple of ideas for this, just, you know, easy shawl. It would knit up pretty quickly. And then lastly, of the, oh no, I have another sample that I liked. This one I really love. This is called Space Elevator, and it looks like Babs, Miss Babs was the designer, and it calls for 3 skeins of her mohair called Moonglow. So I picked out some that I didn't even bring over here. Robin, can you grab them so I don't take the mic with me? Yeah. So it's a, and you could stripe this any way you want. It's done in a tube. And I was thinking you could do this if you wanted, although I think it shows off the yarn better in the tube in a stockinette. But I suspect you could if you wanted to do it in a garter, just back and forth, and don't do a tube. However, these are some of the colors I picked. This is called Dark Apple, Wandflower, and Harvest Plenty. I thought those were fun together. This one is just black and two shades of gray, for those of you who wear a lot of black. And these, I was looking at them, couldn't think what did I put together. This one is called Sweet Pea and Aubergine and Sparkling Sand. This one I think is really beautiful, all the colors in that. And then this one's a little wild, but I think would work. This is called Ziggy Stardust. Yep, and we have Wandflower. Oh, that's the same as I showed in that other one. And Sempervirens. So, fun, I think. Anyway, those are some choices for the, again, I'll tell you the name of this again. Space Elevator. See, Robin has a brain today. I never do. And then one, this is one that was very popular. This is a Andrea Mowry sweater, the Traveler hoodie. Is that actually the name of it? I think it is. The Traveler, but it's a hoodie sweater, which a bunch of people have knit this in the shop, and it's really pretty, and it's done in her Laurel Falls, and this, the colorway is called Dark Andromeda. I don't know if we have it, but it is so spongy and yummy. So I picked out some colors that we had here, again, of Miss Babs. This is the Laurel Falls, and this is called Coastal Fog. And this one is a deep, sort of rich, well, a dusty purple, I would call it. And this is called Dusk. It's really pretty, I think. Very wearable. And this one would be my favorite. Cognac Amber. Or is it Amber Cognac? Nope, Cognac Amber. So, very pretty colors, and we of course have others. So come and take advantage while they're here. She only goes to yarn festivals. I think you can find some in some shops, and then of course she has a big online store. But if you want to come and really feel the yarns and put, what people were saying how much they appreciated this was that they could put colors together. And you can't do that very well online. So I have some WIPS here. You've seen this, the Joni sweater by Natasha Hornby. And I was texting with Robin yesterday. I think I called it the Green Monster. I just, you know how you can knit on a project and you're kind of sick of it? I'm kind of sick of this. I think I would love wearing it. but I wanted to show you some modifications that I did. So the pattern calls for the bottom of the sweater to have a rounded bottom, so it would have short rows. The reason I didn't do that is that I often wear a sweater with this, and I don't like a sweater that's square at the bottom and then this rounded thing sticking out. So I thought that's just not going to be an option for me. So I just ended it with a garter border. And remember, I was in the round, so it's knit 1 row, purl 1 row. And then I picked up here, I think I did the right thing. I followed the directions, but this is how I wanted it. And mind you, this will be blocked out, so you'll really see the lace. The one thing I liked and didn't like about this yarn, it's Sonata. I liked the variegation in it, which is really pretty, but it had a lot of, there was a lot of varying in the thickness of how it was spun. Not sure I loved that about it, but I don't think it'll bother me in the end. And then the sleeve, which I'll show you in the picture, you can see how the sleeve, this was done with short rows. And I decided I didn't necessarily want to do that. So I picked up and I was going to do a 3/4 length sleeve. And by then I was sick to death of it. And I said, no, thank you. So it was too late to do the short rows on that, on the sleeve. So I just did a regular garter, short sleeve garter. So all that's left to do is to pick up this. And if I can force myself this week to do it, I will, because this is the weather when I want to wear this. So I recommend the pattern. It was the front was just a lot of fun to do, and I would love to do this in a white, or I might find something very similar because I like that look.
And you will.
I will.
You did 3 Winslow tees.
I did 3 Winslow tees. I've done a couple of anchors, summer sweaters. So I tend to, if I find a pattern that I like and that fits me, I'll do it. So here's my Tolsta tee, which had some issues because can be a dunce sometimes, and I wasn't quite paying attention, and I wasn't doing. So this is the Tolsta tee, and it's got so many variations, and this is one of those ones you could do very easily. But what I didn't do a good job of, and I'm going to go over and do a duplicate stitch over it, was there were places where when I was switching the colors that I didn't have a good jog. And where I've been able to do that, what I do on the second round is I go in and pick up, when I go to knit the first stitch, I pick that up with the stitch below it, and that seems to take care of the jog. The problem with this is that that first stitch is a make one left. So I wasn't good at doing that, so I think I'm just gonna maybe I'll figure it out by the time I'm finished with this. Although I think I'm close to finishing the raglan, we'll see. This is done in Zooey from Juniper Moon Fibers, and I can't recommend this enough. I love, love, love this yarn. And when I first started knitting with it, I think I was trying to knit too tight, and now I've gotten in the groove with it where I'm just going along with the flow, and it's great. And what is really great about it is that it washes so well. Speaking of that, which was a question that a viewer had, am I worried that it will run? I'm not, but I'm going to do a test, and I will, if it runs, I will definitely let you know. It shouldn't. This is from a big company, and the colors shouldn't run. So I'll give you just some idea of things you could do with it. These are just some combinations that are really pretty. This is what I'm doing, and this is called it's called Twilight Blue and Salt. Salt is their white. This is a pretty one, Sloop and Pearl. We have lots of color of this. And we just took a few. Here's another one. And, ooh, there's a pretty one. I recommend this. The pattern is easy, it's fun to do. I think you'll like it. So speaking of getting things wet and are they going to run, this is the time of year that you want to be washing your woolens for the summer and putting them away. And if you, I don't think most yarns, because if they're wool, they're antimicrobial. I think that's the term. And they kind of clean themselves, so they don't tend to smell if you put them out. I tend to put things in the dryer, just by, not when they're wet, but just to refresh them during the year before I wash them. Now, if it's something I wear all the time without a t-shirt under it, I will wash it more than, I'll wash it a lot. And you'll find with a lot of fibers, they just get nicer and nicer with washing, particularly cashmere. I've got a cashmere sweater that I bought myself to use as kind of a bathrobe. It's a long cardigan as a treat to myself. And I wash that all the time. Now, when I say I wash it, I put it in my washing machine. I have a top loader, so I don't know what a front loader would do. And I put it on delicate cycle, and I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. And I've been washing 3 sweaters a day, and I put it on delicate cycle, then I take it out and I just put them out. I have one of those Cocoa Knits drying racks that we have in the shop that are just fantastic, because if you take it out, or even if you've done it in the sink and wrap it in a towel and squish it out, if you put it on that drying rack, it dries overnight. But anyway, what I use in my washing machine is the Eucalyptus. And Eucalyptus, if you do it in the sink, it doesn't need to be rinsed. And they come out beautifully. So I recommend starting on that now. You might, if you did one a week, you get finished easily. Do not send your clothes to your sweaters to the dry cleaner. It doesn't do them one whit of good. Just be careful when you're handling them that you don't stretch them, that if you have a single ply yarn, that your concern might do a little shrinking, and it shouldn't shrink if we're a little stretching, opposite problem. A little bit of stretching, make sure you keep it folded up in the sink when you do it. I actually accidentally put a sweater in this morning that I took off my shelf and didn't unfold it. I just dumped it in the washer, and when I went to take it out, it had washed all the way through, but it was still folded, which I thought was kind of funny. Anyway, I recommend doing it. I do not recommend dry cleaning. Sorry, dry cleaners, but it just you don't want chemicals on these beautiful, beautiful yarns. I think that may be all. I have to look at my notes I have today. I think it is.
What's Beth
wearing?
Beth, what's Beth wearing?
What's
Oh, no,
Beth wearing?
You look great. I don't know.
Oh, she doesn't.
Oh.
But look what Robin
know
is
what it
wearing.
is.
Come around, Robin, and show us what you're wearing, because Robin is wearing a love note.
Tell her how stupid I was about this. I used the wrong size needle.
Yes, well, that happens to all of us. Remember that none of us is perfect, but isn't this beautiful?
love
And
note.
it's 2 yarns. What are the 2 yarns? Isn't that pretty?
It's the silk mohair Isayer and the alpaca tube.
Alpaca 2 from Isayer. So it's a million people have done it, but Robin's is a little closer fitting than a lot of them.
'Cause she
I
used the
like
wrong
that,
needle size.
but it's because she used a smaller needle size. But that's how you can get, if that, because that pattern is a big sweater. I mean, it has lots of positive ease. So if you prefer, you could change your needle size. Remember to do a gauge because you want to see what the fabric looks like, and always do a gauge. A lot of people don't, and sometimes they regret it. But you know, sometimes it's, and I heard somebody the other day, I was watching a podcast, and she said, I never do a gauge, but I count the beginning of my garment as the gauge. So you can do that, but remember to measure it when you get going into it. And do you like the fabric? Is it gonna, at that gauge, is it gonna fit you? There's a lot to do, and remember, tape measures are your friend. You know, you can measure the garment, then you can measure yourself, and then see if you're on the right track. And you can change sizes of needles and get different fabric, and you might want a looser fabric, particularly if you're making something you want to wear in the summer. You can get a looser fabric, as long as that gauge works for the size that you're doing. That's important. But you're the maker, so you get to make the decisions and you get to have fun with it.
You get to make the mistakes.
And you get to make the mistakes, as Robin says. And believe me, we all do. We're not perfect. Get over yourselves. You're not going to be perfect. Those of you who are, I know some people who really do knit perfectly. I'm not one of them, and I don't want to try to be. I want to just enjoy, love my making, and I can live with a mistake. I can fix it sometimes afterwards, which is what I'm going to do with this. And then there are times when blocking fixes a lot of things. But there are times when you do have to rip, and good knitters rip. Remember that. So I hope everybody has a great week of knitting. This is a Tuesday, May 20-something, 2nd, and it's utterly gorgeous outside, and it was yesterday, so it's a fun time to be it. I took some knitting outside in my garden and sat and knit a little bit. It was just lovely. So get out and enjoy. You can walk and knit at the same time. A lot of people are doing that.
Break every bone in my body.
But you don't want to fall down. Anyway, have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye.